Good day, everyone. Welcome to Pulse Focus, brought to you by LBank. Pulse Focus is a 4-episode series bringing to you the most esteemed guests from the crypto industry. I'm your host, Clement, an LBank ambassador, and today we'll be talking to Sunny Lu, founder and CEO of VeChain since 2015. It is extremely a big honor for me to introduce him to this series of Pulse Focus because he brings so much enterprise IT leadership to blockchain technology, and his time as CIO of Louis Vuitton, China, and earlier roles as CTO of Fortune 500 companies have shaped VeChain's focus and practical business applications. Under his direction, VeChain has partnered with Boston Consulting Group and global enterprises to implement blockchain solutions across industries. Through VeBetterDAO, Sunny now drives Web3 adoption and tokenization initiatives, applying his nearly 20 years of experience in technology, strategy, and business operations to expand blockchain's real-time and real-world impact. You can introduce yourself, Sunny. Thank you.
Thank you, Clement. It's very, my pleasure to be here. Actually, I've been an old friend with LBank for quite a long time. I believe when we launched the ICO in 2017, LBank was actually the first exchange to list the VEN at the time, but later on we changed to the VET. So a little bit introduction about myself. I think I'm like born as an engineer. I always think about as an engineer mentality. And before I started VeChain, I was working at Louis Vuitton for CIO, Chief Information Officer, cutting edge technology like a blockchain or crypto. Actually, I've been into the crypto space since 2012 and 13, so it's already past 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah.
We've set up the VeChain in 2015 and launched the ICO in 2017. So now, even considering the history of the token has been more than 7 years now, but we never change the course. We always try to, build up the bridge between blockchain and crypto technologies, try to create the real utilities in the real world.
I would say that, Sunny, like my first question to you would be, with Bitcoin now surpassing about 100K, more than 100K, and the altcoin season has arrived. And it is expected, right? Ecosystems like Solana, like Sui, like Ton are experiencing explosive growth. So like traditional layer one projects are also benefiting from some of the US policies that are taking off. And, with Trump being elected, everyone's so positive and so optimistic, right? So Which sector do you believe that you've been involved in has, make you seen substantial returns from?
Yeah, well, firstly, 2024 is a great start, right? Everything starts from the approval of Bitcoin spot ETF in January, and even stronger closing. Because, the last month when Trump's win the elections, everybody got like super excited. Everyone, along with our American friends, are celebrating, welcoming the most crypto-friendly ever president to be coming on board to drive the entire market growth. So everybody is quite excited about that. I can see, especially after the Bitcoin ETF gets approved, we see the changes. This market has a significant inflows coming from institutional investors, or let's simply say coming from the Wall Street, from the TradFi guys, right? So it's not only driving like a Bitcoin price up, but also the broader crypto ecosystem, as we just talked. And while Bitcoin still remains the flag of Web3, the whole industry, and it's quite a straightforward narrative. Everybody has a consensus as a digital gold or reserve of the value. But also at the same time, I believe Web3 can do much more than just financial instruments. So think about that. If we consider Bitcoin as a gold, but also there is a NASDAQ, there is let's say high-tech portfolios in the markets, right? So following this kind of pattern, I would say, let's say the entire crypto market will benefiting from the recent changes. So unfortunately, let's say some of the side effect of the crypto is speculation is still the main theme in the crypto market, right? But I believe this cycle will start to reveal some turning points, more focused on the utility and the value creation. referring to the internet ages, it's just like we're sitting in the age of the real internet booming after the internet bubble exploded. People will be more focused on the utility, the creations and everything. And also following what you just mentioned, I would consider like there are three major tracks recently has been focused on like auto season, especially in the last few weeks. Number one is we call US narrative, right? Well, they got the most friendly crypto president, so it kind of cleared the clouds of the regulation, the future, so everybody get excited. That means more opportunity. And number two, we call it regulatory framework track. That means more and more regulation will be coming to the crypto side. Give an example, we have been working with MiCA in Europe for quite a long time. We're targeting to get the MiCA finally approved. Actually, our job has been finished. Now we're just waiting for the regulators to sign off. And for sure, there is also another track, I would call it connecting to the new powers, right? We're talking about the Trumps, we're talking about Elon Musk, those type of the powerful persons sitting in the leader seats right now, and anything linked to them, even it's weak linkage like Doge is kind of sharing the same name as Department of Government Efficiency. But generally speaking, I would say, let's say the new track will be more focused on utility, value creation.
So I would say that I guess my next question to you would be, with so much external capital flooding in, right? The whole crypto market is heading towards an epic level of growth. And currently there are so much more opportunities in tracks like RWA, in memes, in AI, VC finance, and other public chains. So what do you think, or what opportunities do you see ordinary retail investors having to be able to participate in, and how could they benefit from the market's growth that you see right now?
Yeah, that's a very good question actually. Well, I think the game will a little bit different than the previous cycles. Firstly, as we know, the Bitcoin ETF kind of opened up the door for the institutional investors. That means those whales coming from Wall Street, like real whales, right? We're not talking about just millions or even billions. We're talking about the $1 trillion AUM, that kind of player like BlackRock, Franklin, Bitwise, those kind of players coming. So institutional investors, will play more and more important roles in this market compared with before. That's a number one. Let's say the crypto market, like we just discussed, will have some critical changes. Even those changes will not happen just overnight. You might take a few time, it will take some steps. Number one is to focus on more long-term other than short-term. Number two is more focused on the utility and the growth story. Will be more effective than just narrative storytelling, I would say. Number three is also the regulatory impacts. Whatever MiCA to Europe or US probably will have new FIT 21, those type of the regulations to come to, let's say, make the entire market more healthy and more going to the right direction. Let's say the retail, from the investor point of view, I would suggest we need to spend more time to analyze and processing whatever you try to invest. And what I can share is based on the last a few conversations we had with the institutional investors. We spent a few months with those New Yorker players. And one thing we learned from them is they're looking at the fundamentals of any target portfolios. When I say fundamentals, is not only about those kind of crypto native fundamentals like TVL, like transaction volume or TPS, liquidity. Yeah, those are basic stuff. You gotta have some analysis and maybe follow some reputable KOLs or influencers, or do your own research. But again, long term over the short term, utility and the growth story and the regulatory impacts, those something for anybody, especially for retail investor, need to be aware.
And I hear you talk a lot about fundamentals and long-term overview. So I guess my next question would perhaps throw you off a little bit, because it's about meme coins. So LBank has released 2 research papers on meme coins, and we've seen how much meme coins have grown without any fundamentals, without anything to sustain them. And it's became so much of a FOMO thing in the crypto market, where we've seen so much volume pouring in from your pumped up fund. Solana is being such a hot place to launch meme coins right now, and I think that there's so much allure and there's so much charm in meme coins right now. So much, like you mentioned, right? It's about how people can realize and recognize this brand, how attractive this is. And we've seen some meme coins like Mew, Goat, Peanut that have emerged, which they are not even 1 year old. So I just wanted to ask, in your perspective, because you're more of a long-term overview, have you participated in any meme coin investor? What's your return? Like, could you share some valuable lessons with us?
Well, firstly, I didn't seriously participate in any meme coins. Even I know some of VeChain community create some very funny meme coins. But I would say, just like any kind of investor, I participated a bit, but only for fun or just try to learn about the project. Even though I understand the meme coin was very, very hot, in the last few months. But in my opinion, firstly, I'm not really against the meme coin, but I do feel, let's say, not so very comfortable about some of the way they do, especially the recent, let's say, pumped up fund close about the live streaming, right? Honestly, some of the contents are really disturbing. But there are also some good things about the meme coin. I have to say that. Firstly, it's very DJ style. The young people are really like that. And I even myself, I'm an old guy, but I feel like sometimes it's really hilarious or funny about some meme coins. So I think meme coin reveals kind of frustration from the entire crypto market or crypto investors when they get started. It's about like too much infrastructure, but very few applications. So I would say meme coin is the result of making investment as an entertainment. But it also means, as an investor, I would say you should be aware of the potential risk. It will be more harder because there are very few information, maybe just like for fun. So you gotta be aware of the potential risk. Either treat it literally like, oh, that's my entertainment. I just invest a few bucks, $20, $50, fine. But don't put everything into that kind of basket, or maybe also I'm not shutting the door. I think maybe meme coin also eventually could create some possible utilities, with some privilege of club or some kind of group of people. I just show as or kind of like maybe it could be part of the attention economy. For some of the industries. But I reflect a bit, but I didn't study that too much. I'm sorry for that.
No worries. I mean, it's exciting what you mentioned because of, how we can see perhaps in the future some utility happening from meme coins. Yeah, so I would say, like looking forward to 2025, what's your biggest expectations? Do you feel confident in your ability to kind of spot the next trend, or like to kind of see how you can succeed in the market in the next upcoming year?
Yeah, well, honestly, 2025 is it's really, really exciting. Whatever we witnessed about things happening in 2024, it kind of acting as a preparation, right? Whatever the Bitcoin ETF kind of lead to the institutional money inflows into the market, or Trump, just get elected, but he will wait until January 20, then he will start the next administration for real and start to work on, let's say, real deliveries in terms of the crypto policies or friendly policies. So 2025 is definitely very exciting for us. Plus, if we follow the crypto cycle, the 4-year cycle, in 2025, supposedly everybody goes all-time high, right? So I think it's a very crucial. But again, like I mentioned, the market will be a little bit different. You got to focus on really about the deliveries and also the user growth and the utilities, value creations. So whatever from regulator point of view or from the market point of view, remember, the market will be no more just retail investors. The market will also follow with, institutional investors. And not only about the bullish guys only, there could be some professional company like who is focused on the shorting some targets, right? So, for example, I think before there was a company called Muddy Waters Research. They're really targeting to short some listed companies with their own research.
Correct.
And so I think for 2025, firstly, getting exciting about the whole market sentiment, 100%, but also it's also a challenge and a pressure to any crypto players or builders. You got to do something for real. You got to be concrete, solid in terms of deliveries. So that's honestly, we have been quite confident about us. Firstly, we'll talk about a VeBetterDAO. Everybody like that. In the last few months, we talked to several 20, 30 different institutional investors. They were like, oh yeah, that's good idea. That's really the right direction for mass adoptions to bring the normal people into the crypto world, but not just bad names like FTX or Luna, that kind of accidents.
Yes.
So we do have a best narrative. And now the real challenge for us is, for the user growth, continue to bring and develop more and more favorable products, applications people can use on a daily basis. And then, as a collective result, it's a real ecosystem scaling up or boost. That's what we have in focus. So yeah, 2025 is going to be a battle year. Nice. We're going to do something really, meaningful and valuable to make the differences.
Sounds awesome. And I think what you said is really important, because I think in the past few bull cycles, there has been too many companies coming out to claim that they're building something, but they did not deliver. So I'm excited to see what companies would also deliver in the upcoming year. And I would say that, my next question to you would be, if today you had $10 million and, we are so bullish on 2025, right? How would you allocate and invest this amount of money in 2025?
Well, if I have, let's say if I have an extra $10 million, the simple answer is yes, I'm gonna, invest everything into the crypto. As a matter of fact, 90% of my net wealth is still in crypto. I never changed that. Firstly, I would have put priority attention on helping and scaling the VeChain ecosystem. That's 100%. Actually, as a matter of fact, we're working on some a special program to combine with Hackathon Incubator, even along with Dripper University, to create the program with BTG as well. We call mini MBA to recruit more developers, come to join us, build some meaningful applications to acquire the users, and eventually even lead it to a new business model, new startup in this market. So we're gonna focus on that. That's my priority. If I got a 10 million, I gotta put maybe the majority.
Perhaps looking back at 2024, we've seen so much growth in our industry, right? And new applications and broader global adoption has taken place. So could you perhaps maybe share some of the most impactful milestones and developments that you've seen in the industry this year?
Yeah. Well, I think we already covered some of them already. Actually, 2024 just has so many news coming up. There were lots of, very bullish crypto news everywhere in the market. We talk about just a few weeks ago, Brazil just, announced they're going to put the Bitcoin to the national reserve. And also MicroStrategy becomes the most uprising company because they just invest one single asset as a Bitcoin, kind of cheer everybody is up. Not mentioning Bitcoin reached to 100K, it's a significant milestone for that.
Yes.
In my mind, I would categorize for two. Number one is, Bitcoin ETF, as we said. It kind of revealing the institutional investors' move to the market. I'm not talking about only the ETF setting up, but also we can see the money inflows to the Bitcoin ETF or even the Ethereum ETF as well. There is nothing like that in the history, faster or bigger than the growth of the Bitcoin ETF. And number two is actually Trump's winning for sure. And also not Trump's winning, I think it's just opening up. The policy he really wants to implement for the United States is actually, I believe also it will generate that kind of the global impact to everywhere in the world. It's actually about, they intended to put Bitcoin into the national reserve. And I was listening to one of the speech of RFK. He becomes number 2, number 3 of the Trump's administration team right now. He said very simple, US is holding 20% of the gold as a reserve of the whole world. And if US, he believes we should, as Americans, we should put it as a national reserve as well, then the US government needs just to buy 4 million Bitcoins. I know it's going to take time. It's going to lots of the challenges or even the back and forth discussions, eventually going to pass the bill somehow. But, that direction, I think it's the right thing to do. And also it's going to be very bullish for the entire crypto market. And also we can see some of the smaller countries, like I mentioned about Brazil, Argentina, and even some of the states of US, like Pennsylvania, also like, we wanted to put the Bitcoin as a reserve for state-owned assets or state-owned treasury, something like that. Yep. So I think that, let's say, that will be the main theme opened up for 2025.
So I just wanted to understand, because you guys are so long in the market, right? I'm sure you guys a lot of challenges throughout the years, but what would be like, the biggest challenge or like, the biggest issues that you have faced this year, and what do you think is like the most critical issue that the blockchain space is trying to address right now?
Yeah, well, I think this year everything is focused on the regulation side. We spent quite an amount of effort to work for MiCA. Even now we're kind of finished that, but the whole process is quite challenging because firstly, European made the move even before the US. Everybody in US are still in this year are, especially in the early days, are still waiting for the election result, try to get some certainty. But now everything is okay. Everything, the cloud has been swept, especially in terms of regulatory framework. But if we talk about this year, it's really, to prepare for 2025, as we say. So even we talk about the regulations, we talk about, whatever the challenge from the market, uncertainty from US elections. It's let's say, it's just, we just got to keep building. There's no more, no better answer, but just keep building and to, get through that. What we have been struggling and also fighting, the biggest challenge is how do we make the product more friendly and more usable, lovable by the user. And so far, I would say the progress is pretty good, pretty awesome. Especially today, I want to share a very interesting news with you guys. One of our applications is called EV Earn. So basically, if you are the Tesla owner or driver, every time you charge your Tesla, you can, based on the capacity you charge your battery and representing how much mileage you use the EV, you can get rewards accordingly, right? So what we released today as new updates is you can, you don't need to do anything. You just need to log in with your Tesla accounts. So all of the Tesla driver will have a Tesla account to use your mobile phone to control your car, to, as a key, everything, right? And so we finished the API on 2 different levels with the Tesla. One is you can use Tesla account to log in the EVN and load your car information automatically to EVN to be ready to get rewards.
I would like to ask you the final question of today, which, as we move forward towards 2025, I know I'm super bullish on VeChain right now already, but what are your expectations in the blockchain space? Are there any like specific sectors or like specific initiatives you believe that could, push the next wave of growth?
Actually, whatever we can learn from the history, even the recent history, like a meme coin, right? They actually link to one fundamental creation of whatever the track. It could be ICO in 2017, it could be NFT DeFi or 2021, or even the recent meme coin. I think the fundamental output of those tracks is about the user growth. You have more user interesting to either explore or either build some of the products in that kind of track. So that's a history. That's a history we can learn always. If we look at the 2025, I would say, again, is more focused on the utility, focused on the user growth. And one narrative I recently learned from one of the BCG articles. BCG actually released a new post on the LinkedIn. They will have some report coming up as they promised. It's called, they kind of, creating a new track. It's called DBAN. It's the decentralized better action networks. So to put, all of the similar projects into this kind of new track, it's basically the fundamental core narrative is actually how to use Web3 technology to incentivize people or motivate people or enable people to do better actions.
Thank you so much, Sunny, for sharing with us so much insights as a Dino Coin founder. But other than that, it's amazing to be able to speak to you. Any closing words or any last words for our viewers today?
2025 is going to be the historical milestone year for every crypto, whatever you are, investor or builder or just a user, and just ride along and enjoy.